This is a Year 8 English recording on the text Once. This is Chapter 2 of Morris Gleitzman's Once, and we look immediately and we see that the title Once is again the first word of the chapter. We also noted last time that the very first sentence of every chapter of the book, and this is no different, summarises what's really going on in the chapter. Once I stayed awake all night waiting for Mum and Dad to arrive. So this has to do with Felix's longing for his parents and his expectation that they would arrive to collect him. Remind ourselves where we are. Felix is in an orphanage. It's in a remote area that's a long way away from the village along a rocky road. We know that he's from Poland and that this is in 1942 during World War II. As we can see near the bottom of page 10, I've got highlighted just here, and you should highlight these in your book as well. He's talking about his parents owning a Jewish bookstore and travelling all over Poland. So we've got a number of instances. In chapter 1 it explicitly says they speak Polish and they're in Poland, and Warsaw is where the Catholic head office is, which is a major city in Poland, the capital. So we know that we're in Poland in World War II, and we have more evidence that this is the case here. So this has to do with the setting. This chapter doesn't elaborate much more on the setting, it just confirms what we already know. In studying the book Once, we need to know a little bit about the historical background, and this is where your study in humanities intersects with your study in English. We need to look at the Jewish diaspora. Diaspora is a technical term for the spread of Jewish people throughout the world. If we look at this map, we can see we have Europe here and the Mediterranean Sea, and right to the east of the Mediterranean Sea there's a little slither of gold land. This is the modern land of Israel. This is the historic homeland of the Jewish people. And this goes right back to Bible times, when they inhabited the land, in Hebrew, Haaretz. The Jewish people and their connection with this land is rich in history, and they refer to themselves as people of the land. However, their time in the land has been troublesome. Going back to Bible times, there's been diasporas. But one of the big events in the diaspora of the Jewish people is in 70 AD. The historian Josephus tells us about how Emperor Vespasian and Titus took troops into Judea, into Israel, ended up circling Jerusalem, and many Jewish people, some atrocities happened and many Jewish people fled. This was a big turning point in the idea of the diaspora of the Jews. Later on in 132 to 135 AD, under Emperor Hadrian, he flattened Israel and drove many of the Jewish people out and renamed the land Syria Palestrina, and it became the land of Palestine after that. For some 2,000 years, it was not a Jewish homeland. It belonged to the Ottoman Empire, and then after World War I was British Transjordan. And in 1948, it became the Jewish homeland again. In every place that Jews have lived on this map, outside of Israel, they have suffered greatly. In Spain, the Spanish Inquisition. In Russia, the Russian pogroms. And in this area here, the Holocaust in World War II. As Jews were driven out of Israel, some came north into Europe. These are called Ashkenazi Jews. And some went west through the top of North Africa into Spain. These are referred to as Sephardic Jews. It's Ashkenazi Jews that suffered greatly in the Holocaust. Here are some Jewish people, and the focus I want you to see is the man on the left of your screen has a big bushy furry hat. It's very typical amongst Ashkenazi Jews, where Sephardic Jews will be dressed closer to the man on the right. Here is a picture dating back to World War II of poor Polish Jews, Ashkenazi Jews living in Poland. You can see a number of them have those furry hats. It's Ashkenazi Jews with a different dress sense, and they have different pronunciation of the Hebrew language. And it's an Ashkenazi Jew that Felix is.